Alright, this is day one. 100 days from now, on the 19th of April 2026, I'm going to join the top 2% of runners and run a sub 3 hour marathon. There's no ifs, there's no if I can do it, there's no maybes, there's no doubting myself. This is going to happen, right? And I want to show you what's possible when you truly believe in yourself, you commit to a goal, and you follow through.
From my hometown, memories of phrase.
So, we did it. We did it. We managed to pull it off after 12 months of work, 12 months of committing to that goal. I remember running my first marathon back in May 2025, hitting a 3:14. And then as soon as I finished that, I was like, I can get sub 3. The first words that came out of my mouth, and I can do that, is I can do a sub 3. There's honestly not a feeling, I don't think, that will come close to crossing that finish line. Not even crossing the finish line. The last 100 meters, ran around the corner, and I was just looking left to right, trying to find everyone, friends, family. Everyone came down, and then just at the end, just to see all their faces and everyone cheering it on. Honestly, it is a feeling that I will cherish forever, because that is a buzz like no other. And it's just, what a day, what a feeling. I can't describe it. That is the absolute love for the marathons. But how did we do it? How did we pace the race? How did we plan going into the race? How did we feel? All that kind of stuff. Before it, we parked up a little bit outside. We probably ran about, I'd say we probably ran a decent amount. Probably ran about 0.7 of a kilometre, 1k kilometre. About a kilometre before the race. Was a little bit of a shakeout, did a bit of extra stretches. I could not hold a piss in for the life of me. I must have had about 12 pisses waiting for the starting line, and we were at the starting line for about half an hour, and it was just like, how much more can I get out of me? And then didn't need one, thankfully, throughout the whole race. There was no issues on that front, which is good. But the main aim for the race was obviously what we initially started out as would be, we would go out at 4 minute 20 kilometers. So just a 5 to 7 seconds slower than our target race pace. Target race pace needed to sit between around about 4:10 to 4:15. We planned to go out at that pace, 4:20, held them for the first 5k, felt good. And then I was meant to run with my good friend Rowan the whole way, but I don't know, I think it was about 7 or 8k. I just started to get into a bit of a groove around about 4:10, and I just started to try and lock into my own head and just trust my own judgment with it. We were going to go from 5k to 30k at 4:15s and hold that, and that would have had us at 2:08 at 30k mark. But anything can happen on a marathon day, and I just didn't want to leave it to absolute fine margins. So I found a flow at around about 8k, and then just started running off at about 4 minute 10s. I was up and down, from 10 to about 21. I was in and around 4 minute 8s, 4 minute 7s, 4 minute 5s, 4 minute 3s, and just giving it a good boot. I ran about 17k. I managed to catch the 3 hour pacer up. So I knew that if I stayed in front of him throughout the entire race, that I would do it. And it was almost like a bit of someone's chasing you here and you need to stay in front of him. And that helped a lot, I think, knowing that psychologically, that as long as I stay in front of you, I'm all right. And I didn't stay far away of him. It was literally like 200 meters ahead of him the whole way, but managed to just hold that every single time. I was just looking back and just trying to see where he was, but found a decent stride and just sort of locked into it, and just got into a little bit of a flow state, something that I've always been able to get into when I was running. I'll put the split somewhere up on the screen, but we managed to pretty much hold the entire pace throughout the whole race, really. And I'm not really sure how, at all. It was just one of those things where you've just got to trust the body, you've just got to trust the prep, and going off at that pace a bit ahead of it almost gave me a little bit of a buffer. And at the 25, 26, 27k mark, I was like, oh shit, you know what, I've undercut this. I don't know if I'm going to be able to hold on here. And it was almost like, it was just like up and down, up and down. It was like 1K felt good and 1K didn't feel so good and 1K felt good and 1K didn't feel so good. And it was about 37K. I had to change the gel strategy around, and I'll go through that in a minute, but it was like 37K. I've had issues with my IT band in the past. Now, on my first marathon, my knees, my hamstrings, everything was in pain on my first marathon, everything. And on this prep, I made sure that I would train legs consistently, train legs properly, and take mobility very, very seriously, and didn't have any issues with the actual kneecap itself, or hamstring, or shin splints, or calves, nothing. Everything was fine, apart from my IT band on the right side. And I think over time, the wear and tear of just weaker glutes and just the build of fatigue, my running form might have dipped a bit. The slower I got, the more fatigue I got. You lose your fatigue, you lose your sort of form a little bit, and it drops, and you're almost dragging yourself through. And it was like my knee was going to break at 37K. I thought my knee was going to break, and I thought it's going to go at some point. I was getting waters, and I was literally just squirting water on my knee just to try and keep it cold and just try and take the pain away for just a little bit longer. And then it got to about 4K, and I thought, you know what, I'm at 4 minute 10 kilometers here, and I've got 20 minutes, and I was calculating it on my watch, and I was like, I don't need to go any faster. I can't go any slower. I just need to stay where I am. And I think knowing that at that point in time, with, you know, getting to the hardest part of the race at 37K is essential, I think, because if you're chasing at that point in time, you're up against it. You know, all it takes is one bad kilometre, a bit of horrendous cramp, twist of the ankle, anything, or gels to just completely run out, or, you know, anything, lack of hydration, to just stop you in your tracks and just completely hit a wall. But we didn't, and the splits were consistent. And then coming down that final stretch, took my earphones out and just took it all in, and it was fucking amazing, absolutely amazing. So that is one of the best feelings I will ever have in a long time. And gel strategy, I used the CIS 40 gram carb gels. I took 6 of those and 2 caffeine gels. One thing I would say is, though, if you can find a carb gel which has a lot of, like, 40 grams of carbs in and caffeine, get those, because I don't feel like running at that pace or running a marathon, the 20 gram caffeine carb gels are enough carbs. And I did feel like almost like I had to have another one straight away, and I almost sacked it off in the last 12K. I had gels pretty close to each other, but I had one every 5K. So it was until 25K, I had a caffeine, and then at 30, I had my final, no, I didn't. At 30, I had my second to last 40 gram gel. 32, I had a caffeine gel, and then 35 or 6, I had my last final 40 gram carb gel to give me to the final line. So pacing, fueling wise, all good. I had salt tablets. If I was to do it again, I would take stronger salt tablets. Mine were only 100 milligrams of sodium. Don't think that was enough. And I would probably take around about 500 milligrams for an hour. I was just eating them as I was going, and as I just felt like I needed something to just take my mind off things. Another tip I would say definitely helped. I heard it on the race build up, that to prevent like overheating in your body, overheating, pour water on the back of your neck, pour water on the top of your head, pour water on your face. I was fucking drenched by the end of it. But that helped a lot to just keep my body temperature nice and cool and prevent it from overheating. Don't be shy on the waters. I was taking 2 waters every single time. I would drink one, put one on my head, put one on my shoulders, everything like that, put one on my knees, and then I would sip one and hold one. Towards the end of the race, you know, towards the start of the race, I was just drinking it and throwing it and just leaving it. But towards the end, I was holding a water and just keeping that there just for something to keep me going. And I think that helped a lot as well. But we did it. We did it. We did it. I achieved everything I've set out to achieve in the game of running. And I can safely say that I am retired from running goals. The only thing that would get me back out of running right now, I can confidently say, is a London Marathon space next year or whenever. But aside from that, we've got 5 clients who are running in Manchester next year, so my running love can live through them. It's not to say I won't ever stop running, it's just I won't run towards running goals. I won't have preps, I won't have targets. Because it's like, where do you go now? You've done sub 3, you start chasing sub 250, you start chasing 245. I have no interest in doing that. A sub 3 is what 1% of runners in the world do, and that's good enough for me. And I want to cherish that and not sort of chase it. But 12 months ago, as I said, the biggest decision I've made, the best decision I could have made was to commit to all of the targets. So to run a sub 3 hour marathon, you need to hit an 18:35k, a 37-minute 30, 10k, a 1:25 half marathon, and that puts you in the shot. And I decided 12 months ago to strip it back and make sure I hit all those targets and built my way back up from 5 to 10 to 21 into that full. And that's been the experience and the exposure and the mileage and the legs has been absolutely a game changer. Complete game changer in terms of me in that time. So the max mileage we got to was like 60k weeks, but I think it's about, I've not just gone in on a marathon prep. I've been doing back-to-back running preps since May 2025. That is a lot of mileage on the legs, and that's a lot of running experience in the joints. So that helped a lot, because first time round it was just straight into a marathon prep, and that's what a lot of people do. And I think if you want to achieve, you know, a marathon is an amazing achievement, right? But if you want to make that marathon a little bit easier and a little bit more enjoyable, and you do want to get a fast time, hit all your targets. Work out what your marathon goal is and what targets do I need to hit along the way to be in the shot with that. My best piece of advice I could give you. But that's the marathon recap. It's I'm still not over it, to be honest. We're on Thursday now and I'm still not over it. My knee is very, very sore. I don't know what I've done to my knee, but that's going to take a bit of time to recover. But what's next? What is next for me? 10 weeks on the 27th until we go to Ibiza. I'm going to get lean, because I didn't get that very, very lean, and I would, if I could go back in time, I would have got really, really lean before marathon prep, just to be a bit lighter on my feet. If I was 5 kilos lighter, who knows, but anyway. But we're going to get shredded for summer. We're going to get peeled, back to the roots of the Stairmaster and lifting weights. And I'm so excited for Simplicity again, because those who have ran a marathon prep before understand that your life is pretty much taken away. By Saturday's taken up by a long run, and you're knackered, you're tired, your whole life revolves around you planning your runs out, and you don't really get much rest across the week. So it's going to be nice to just have life back, and at the same time be back in the UK and back living in the UK and get back on track and just feeling like myself again, which I am doing, and I'm feeling better than I've ever felt over the last few months. Definitely feel like I'm getting myself back, which is amazing. Probably do a little bit of video on the Dubai move and the decision behind that, but I thought I'd just close the chapter in my head and just remember it for what it was and appreciate it, and then just move on with my life rather than just keep attaching to it. So we shall see. But 27th, get shredded. We'll be taking you through all that. We'll do some weekly updates and weekly uploads in terms of how the shred's going. And just keep up the vlogs, keep up with the YouTubes. And then from there, probably going to dance with the High Rocks. I know there's High Rocks is in Manchester and London in December time. So I think get shredded until July. Have July, summer as a little bit of a maintenance-ish week, get the fitness back up, start to build the base back up, and then August, September, October, November, maybe start getting into that High Rocks and just give it the respect it deserves, not just jump into one and assume, get properly back in, get a coach, get a good High Rocks block of 3 or 4 months in, and then try and pull off a sub 60 High Rocks in Manchester or London at the end of the year to round off the year. And 2027, God knows. Probably all depends on a London marathon spot, and then we'll try and sub 3 at both. For biggest in the second, biggest in the UK, but yeah. Other than that, I don't know. I have been flirting with an Ironman, but we'll see. There's other things I need to be doing in my life with business, and we've got some exciting projects to work on. Excited to get stuck into. So that's the marathon journey over. That's the running journey over. It has been my personality trait for the last 18 months to 2 years, and proof that if you achieve. It's proof that you set a goal, you have delusional self-belief, you don't let any doubt creep in your mind, you can achieve whatever you want. I remember once upon a time I said when I was running 30-minute 5Ks in lockdown, I would never do a marathon. But it's about who you become in the process and everything that you learn along the way about yourself and who you become. And I know that when I have one sole goal and focus and it's in my mind, and I've already visioned it's been achieved, I'll achieve it. So I'm looking forward to taking that mindset into the cup, into the High Rocks, and seeing what we can pull off. But yeah, running, retired, boots are hung up, and we will always cherish that moment. It was a great day. But that's a wrap. Marathon recap. Anyone who watches this, who's running London this weekend, best of luck. I hope you get your time, and I'll see you in the next one.